Hello, friends, and welcome back to r/IDontWorkHereLady. And today we have 3 great stories. So I'm hoping for your likes, and let's get started. First story. I don't work here, Karen. I'm just delivering. Important background. I own a skateboard manufacturing company. I personally enjoy doing sales-type work with local shops and meeting all the employees and local skaters. For that reason, I try to be the one that delivers all the merchandise. So I was doing my rounds to a shop a few weeks ago in Los Angeles. I see this shop every few weeks because skaters like to support local companies, and I'm based out of San Diego. Also, it's within a reasonable range for me to personally deliver to. So when I got to the shop, this woman, we'll call her Karen for obvious reasons, just starts watching me intently as I unload skateboards and t-shirts from my little commuter car. After a few minutes, the watching turns into an impatient glare. A few more minutes go by, and at this point, she's hovering over me with her awful glare. I was planning on just ignoring her until I finished unloading, but as I was taking some stuff into the shop, she just stood in my way. Me. Hey, could I get by? Karen. I was hoping you could help me with some things. Me. I could help you, but I still need to get by and put everything down first. Karen. Fine. So I run into the shop and set everything down on the counter. I figured it'd be no big deal to give her advice on what board, wheels, trucks, or whatever she should get. Great opportunity to promote my brand to her, actually. Should have kept ignoring her. Karen. So I want a discount. These skateboards are $48, and that's outrageous. A skateboard at Walmart's only $30, and it comes with all the parts, not just the wood. Me. Yes, it can be pricey to start, but unlike a Walmart skateboard, most of the parts you buy today will last for a very long time. The wheels and trucks especially can last years. Karen. I don't care how long it lasts. I didn't even ask you that. I asked for a discount. Me. I'm sorry. I know that's what you asked for. I unfortunately cannot offer you a discount. Karen. Why not? Me. Well, for starters, I don't work here. Karen. That's such BS. Although she used more colorful language, I've been watching you unload gear and stock it in the shop for hours. Me. It hasn't been hours, has it? Still, I'm just the manufacturer of a few products in the store. I'm here for a delivery today and helping the shop make sure everything looks good and is stocked before I go. Karen. I don't believe you. Manufacturers drive big box trucks. You're probably unpacking from some event or something. Kids these days always making up jobs to seem more important. Me. I promise you I don't work here. Would you like me to get a manager or something to clear things up? Karen, yes. I want to tell the manager how awful your service has been. So I went to grab the acting manager, who happened to be the owner of the shop as well. We'll call him Brian, because I've never met a Brian I didn't like. Me. So this is Brian. He's the acting manager today. Like I was explaining, I do not work here, but Brian might be able to help you out. Brian. Yes, ma'am. DJ Skate actually doesn't work here. He just is delivering boards. DJ Skate owns a local skateboard manufacturer, and we carry his decks and merchandise to help support a local company. Karen. Wow, you really got your manager to lie on your behalf? Well, listen here, Brian. DJ Skate has treated me like absolute crap. He was ignoring me while he unpacked from your event, then he refused to give me a discount for the terrible service. Brian. Ma'am, he doesn't work here. He doesn't have the ability to give you a discount. We didn't have an event. He is the manufacturer. Karen, stop lying to me. He's a bad employee and he deserves to be fired. Brian, jokingly, DJ Skate, you heard the lady. You deserve to be fired from our shop. I'd fire you now on this complete stranger's recommendation, but you don't work here. Me, also jokingly, no. Karen, you two are extremely rude. Can I speak to someone in charge about this situation? Me. Well, I own the manufacturing company, so I'm in charge. Brian. And I own local skateboard shop, so I'm also in charge. Karen. I'm going to call your corporate and figure out who actually is in charge. Not even a second later, Karen calls the shop number. Brian went to answer the phone, but she grabbed his arm angrily and motioned for him to stay put. Some other random employee ended up answering. Karen. I want to speak to the manager. Random employee. Hey, Brian, it's for you. Karen just hangs up and storms out. She gives us the finger and yells about how terrible management is to pretend like I don't work there. I finish up my business with Brian and the shop and head out. No need to drag it out any further, as we can always laugh about it later. So I get back to this shop a few days ago for my next delivery, and Brian lets me know that Karen came back after a day or two. He ended up declining to give her any special discounts, but did tell her about the on-sale clearance items. Being the entitled lady she was, apparently the clearance gear was not good enough for her. She wanted brand name items and demanded a heavy discount. Brian ended up telling her that there were other shops in the area that may be better suited to her budget if that were the case. We had a quick laugh about how ridiculous customers are and how this kind of customer comes in like once a week. And our second story. Get your hands off my son. This happened over the weekend with me and my youngest son. Now, let me describe my youngest son. 15 years old, just under 6 feet tall, 180 pounds. Size-wise, he's an adult, but once you look at him, he's still baby-faced, very little facial hair, and it's obvious he's still a child. He's also very shy and quiet around strangers. He's wearing a hoodie with his school name on the front, basketball shorts, and socks with slip-on sandals. We are at our local hardware store picking up some items he needs for his shop class project. I'm standing by the cart and texting with my youngest daughter while he's picking out the various things he needs. Elderly gentleman walks up and says, "Son, can you reach the top shelf there and grab this for me?" Since it's right above his head, my son does as he's asked and puts it in the man's cart. "Thank you, sonny. Here's $1 for being such a good kid and helping an old man out." My son says, "You don't have to do that," and tries to give it back. Older man says, "No, son, you're here with your mama and I interrupted y'all. Go ahead and keep it." My son thanked him. We were on our way. So we're standing in the checkout line and my son remembers he forgot an item. It's only 2 aisles over, so he shuffled off to get it. The line was plenty long, so we had time. I answer another text from my youngest daughter when I hear my son's distressed voice, "Mom!" This was akin to a wounded cub calling for his mama. The hair on the back of my neck stood up, and I go off in search of my son. Mama Radar takes me straight to him, where some raggedy-ass witch has her hand on my son's wrist and is yelling at him, "I saw you helping that other woman and old man, now you help me find an item." My son hasn't seen me yet and yells, "Mom!" even louder. Raw tells my son to shut up, his mom isn't here. "Oh, yes he is, and you need to take your damn hands off my son before I take it off you and shove it up your butt." Raw says, "If he's your son, you need to teach him some manners," and she still has her hand on my son. Now, my son is quite big enough that he could have removed her hand from him, but he doesn't like confrontation. He quietly says, "I told you I was shopping with my mom and don't work here." He tries to step away and she yanks him back, or tried to since he's twice her size. She yells at him again, "BS, I saw you help that old man." To which my son replied, "Because he asked nicely." By now, this mama bear's enraged and seeing red that this woman won't leave my son alone. I repeat to her that she has 10 seconds to remove her hand and walk away before I use my legal right to protect my child and remove it for her. And I start counting. 10, 9, 8. She screamed at me, "What do you think you're gonna do? Me in this state? It's self-defense when I beat your butt for assaulting my minor child." 3, 2, 1. And yes, I grabbed her wrist and twisted it behind her back, put her on the floor. The floor associate's been watching behind me all this time, unknown to me until I put the raggedy witch on the floor. I see him and tell him to call the police. I'm pressing charges. Yes, putting her hands on my son is assault of a minor in this state. He calls the store manager over his walkie-talkie. Store manager used to be married to my husband's cousin. He takes one look at me with my knee in the witch's back, still holding her arm, while she's screaming at him to call the police and have me arrested and to fire my son, and says, "I don't suppose you'll let her up and walk away, will you?" Me, "Nope." Store manager sighed and called the police. Both of us were put in cuffs while they took statements and reviewed what the cameras caught. She ended up being arrested. I was going to be placed under arrest too, but I reminded the officer, we have a stand your ground, defend your castle in this state, and my lawyer would have a field day with my case. The officer changed his mind and uncuffed me, telling me I was free to go. Lady thinks I work at a gas station, freaks out on the owner for telling the truth. Let me start by saying this was a few years ago. The details are a bit fuzzy. I'm also on mobile. So with that, here's the story. So this story starts with my dad pulling into a gas station while we were on a road trip. I had to go to the bathroom, so I ran inside while my dad put a bit of air in the tires and got gas. As soon as I step out of the bathroom, Karen looks at me and says, "Finally, someone who works here. Done with your extended break yet?" I look at her and said the famous line, "I don't work here." Karen cut me off and said, "I know you work here. I saw you talking with that man outside." I'm pretty short and obviously young, so I have no idea how she even mistook me for an employee, so I repeat again, "I don't work here." To which she slams the glass door of the gas station, which promptly shattered. My dad heard this and immediately ran to the store. "Dad, what's happening here?" Karen, "This employee refuses to help me and claims he doesn't work here. I want him fired." At this point, a real employee comes out of the back room to see what's happening. When the employee realizes the door is broken, she calls the owner, who arrives in the middle of my dad and I telling Karen that I don't work here and I'm 13. The owner shows up and tells her the exact same thing, to which Karen decides to yell, "Why are you defending this employee? He was lazy and should be fired," followed by her throwing a bunch of stuff from an aisle on the ground and storming out. We ended up getting free snacks and saw Karen's car on the side of the highway being pulled over by the cops. We made sure to slow down and give her a nice wave when we drove by. "Thanks for the free snacks, lady." All right, guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next video.